Back at Snappy Tomato Pizza, Chris Brinkley with Coach Kevin McMillan, Skyhawk women's basketball coach now. For UT Martin, they win the regular season in the OVC, win the OVC tournament with a win over Tennessee Tech, and advance to the NCAA tournament. We'll talk about all of that later. Let's talk about the matchup with Tennessee as the Skyhawks fell to the Lady Vols Saturday. Coach, I like discussing things with you in chronological order. So going into the game, what were your thoughts about the Tennessee Lady Vols?
Well, I didn't know for sure exactly what I would think, to be honest with you. I watched them on film, and I saw some things that I thought we could do to bother them, but when you're a top 5 team in the country, you don't know if you really are seeing something that really will bother them or not. And the thing, usually you go away from a game and you think, we could have done more in that game than we really thought we could. And that's why we play the Purdues and the Louisvilles and the Vanderbilts. And if you look at those games, the Purdue game, we got beat by 20, 25 points. Didn't play real well, but we're like, guys, they only scored 60-something points. And, if we'd have made some shots, we'd had a chance. And then we come to the Vanderbilt game, which was the next big one. And there was a first half that you kind of slept-walk through. And then the second half, we played really, really well. And so you go, and that's what you see at the halftime. We went, you know what, we can play here, guys, let's go. So then we go to Louisville and kind of put it all together, and we get beat 13 at their place, and they're number 10 in the country, and it's a pretty good ball game. So I knew going into this that I wasn't really sure, but I knew that I thought that we would look back and say we could have done a little bit more, but I thought the kids came out and did better than I expected. So, going into it, I thought that it would be a probably steeper battle, but I always, in the back of my mind, was going, you always come away from these games going, you could have, you were better than you thought you were. And so I tried not to do that and come into it with a mindset of if we do certain things, well, we'll have a chance. But, again, when you're talking about top 5 teams in the country, there's just not a lot of weaknesses.
We heard from Glory Johnson in the post-game press conference, and one of the reporters asked her what surprised her most about UT Martin. And she said, well, we knew a lot about them going into the game. We knew they could score points. We knew they had guard play. But we were surprised at how physical they were from the beginning. Her teammate Megan Simmons said, yeah, it doesn't really matter how big you are. It's the size of your heart. And that team had a lot of heart. It was obvious to me that you did a good job in preparing our team to go in and fight from the tip-off. How'd you do that?
Well, kind of like you said about transparency, I told them that what my biggest fear was, and that was that we were going to get in the game and they were going to go over and ask Coach Summit or their players for an autograph, and that they were going to be so enamored by Tennessee that they were going to forget to play. And after the thing was announced and we got it on Tuesday, I walked into practice and I talked to them for 30 minutes and I said, look, guys, I've already watched more film on them than I usually watch. I've already got a plan together, but if y'all aren't in for this fight, then tell me now, and I won't worry about it, and I'll just figure out where we're going to eat and where we're going to enjoy ourselves on the NCAA's money, and life will be good. I said, but if y'all are in for making this thing a war, then I'm telling you, we're going to do some damage here. And I went and I laid out to them what my plan was, and I said, okay. I guess I talked to him and I said, look, I'll let you think about it, and if you text me tonight and tell me you don't want to do it, I'll know. Now, otherwise, if I get no text tomorrow when we get to practice, I know what that means. And I didn't get any text, thank goodness. But I just laid out to them what we were going to do and what we were going to try to control. And I told, and I didn't try to hide anything from them. I said, they're going to kill us on the boards, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do that, and they're going to try to bully us. And everybody told us they were going to play zone. I said, they're not going to play a zone. They're not going to. They're going to play straight man the whole time.
You're right.
And the thing is they haven't done that in 15 games. And so I told the girls, I said, if you're not with me, you watch when that game starts. If they're playing man, you better get with me, because I was right. And we were exactly right. And they did exactly what we thought they were going to do and exactly what we prepared our kids to handle. If they had come out and played zone, I would have been a little bit, we prepared for it, but not near as much as we did the man. And so we just kind of were honest with them and told them this is what's at stake. This is what you've got to do. But then we told them, we laughed about it off the air, but I really literally told them, I said, in the first 2 minutes of the game, I don't care how many times you foul. You foul all you want to. And I said, I'll even give you a free one that I don't care. early in the game. Well, I mean, we couldn't get one called. I mean, we were trying to foul. That's what's so comical. We were trying to foul in the first 4 to 5 minutes of that game, and they didn't call anything. And when that stretch was over, I was kind of like, okay, this is not good. This is not good.
You also, I want to quote you because I asked you what one of the keys to the game was. You said we need a young officiating crew who will call fouls.
That's exactly
who are
right.
new to this because it will be in our benefit. Because if it, and the basic theory is they are so large. If it's a physical game, it'd be like Sugar Ray Leonard in a boxing match with Lennox Lewis or Muhammad Ali, somebody that's much bigger and taller. And Sugar Ray might be quick, but he didn't have a big shot against a heavyweight like that.
Well, it's me playing basketball against Ben.
Yeah.
And if I can do what I want and however I want, then he doesn't have a chance. Now, if they call it close, then he's going to have a chance, and that's what we hope for. And I tried to, and I said some things to the refs to try to get them. Okay, guys, if you're going to call it like this, we don't really have anything we can. There's no reason for us to be out here. I mean, we can't do anything. And they were like,
you told them that before the game?
I told them during the game.
Okay.
When Butler would get knocked to the floor, and they're like, that's clean. I'm like, okay, if it's clean, why is she laying down? I mean, if there was no contact, what's she doing laying on the floor? Because she's really, I know her, and she's really an athletic kid, and she can jump and then land on her feet. I mean, I've seen her do it many times. So if she falls on the ground, there was probably a reason. I didn't tell the ref that. But I mean, we knew if it was a physical, they're one of the most physical teams in the country.
Right.
The way that they beat the teams that they beat is they literally physically whip you.
That's right.
And so, I mean, I knew that if the refs are going to call a game a certain way, even if we battled, we can't overcome that because that's what they do every single game. And all I tried to do early in the game was make sure that we wanted to foul to get the officials blowing their whistle. I mean, really, honestly, I thought if we can foul a couple of times and they get to blowing their whistles, they'll keep blowing their whistles.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to do it so our kids weren't going to back down. Tennessee was not going to think, okay, I'm just going to walk over these people. We're here and in for a fight. And we accomplished one of those, which is the one I was the most worried about. I thought for sure if we go out there and try to foul, they'll call some fouls. But I was more worried about the other, and it turns out it was the flip. We didn't need to worry about battling because our kids were ready to battle. But we did need them to blow the whistle more, and they didn't. So,
in the first half, you fought. I mean, it's a 4-point game with just over a minute left in the first half. And I thought, we're not shooting the ball well. Jasmine and Heather are struggling a little bit from the field. I felt we're in pretty good shape at halftime.
We played really well in the first half.
Let me ask you this: have we been more physical in any game this season?
Mm-mm.
That's what I thought.
No, we were as physical in that game as I've seen us ever, and most of that was because when they didn't call any fouls, we just kept. Coach told me to foul. Okay, I did that. It didn't work. Okay, what about this? That didn't work. Okay, fine. I'll just punch him in the nose. I mean, that's about what it was like, and but that was as physical as I think I've ever seen us.
So you're in the locker room. It's halftime, and you played well.
Yeah, I thought at halftime that we played really well, we got home yesterday, and Matt and Ben wanted to watch the game, and so they put it in. And I don't ever want to watch games that quick after we've played them like that, and they wanted to watch it, and Matt counted up how many baskets he thought we should have gotten in the first half, and we missed 3 layups. And when I say we missed 3 layups, we missed 3 uncontested layups, and then we missed. Matt had us for 6 threes, and I said, okay, count 2 of those. And then we had 2 wide open jump shots. I said, okay, count 1 of those. And according to his calculations, we should have been up 38-35 at the half.
I agree.
And it could have easily been that. I mean, I know it's Tennessee, and I know all those things. And you could say, well, Tennessee missed shots too. Yeah, but most of the shots Tennessee missed are the ones that we wanted them taken. The ones we were missing were open shots that we weren't supposed to be getting according to the way they were guarding us. So, I mean, that was my difference. And then the end of the half, the other big thing was at the end of the half when they hit a 3 to go up 9, and then we come out and hit a 3 to cut it back to 6. If that had not gone in and it's 6 at the half, then we hit it and it's 3. Anything in a game that keeps it tight or changes a flow, you can never get that back if you lose it. And a whole game could hinge on a couple of possessions. And what you want to do is you want to keep, in that game, we wanted to keep pushing those possessions that the game was going to hinge on as far out as possible. And so that she hit that big shot at the half. And poor Megan, we took a timeout, and I put in Megan and Paige Smith and Beth Hahn Shelby and Rakisha. I put in the biggest lineup I could put in case they went down and tried to get a shot and couldn't get a second shot. So we're going to get a rebound. And I told Megan, I said, Megan, she's going to come down the floor. She's going to be on your side. Now, thinking back, I don't know why I thought she was going to be on Megan's side. She could have easily gone to Paige's side. I don't know why I said that. But I said, when she gets down, when the clock gets to about 7, we've got 2 fouls to give Fowler. Well, I wasn't thinking that they hadn't blown the whistle yet. Why would they start now? She comes down, and Chris, you saw it, and I mean, I watched it on TV. It was comical. She body checked her, Megan Simmons, and they bounced off each other. And when Simmons gathered herself, Megan had gone this way, Simmons had gone that way, and Simmons gathered herself and shot it, makes a 3. And Megan came in to meet with me today, and she said, Coach, after we were through, she said, Coach, I just have one question. I said, yeah, you mean, because I tell at this meeting they can ask anything they want to and talk about stuff. She goes, were you not really mad at me at the end of that half when that happened? I said, absolutely not. I said, I told you go out there, Fowler, you did everything but knock her down. And, you did exactly what was asked of you, and you didn't call it. And then Megan Simmons hits a great shot. I mean, she does. And all the shots she hit, we knew we weren't going to be able to defend anyway. But that was a really key play, and then we came out in the second half and kind of started it back up. But, I really thought the first half was as competitive, enjoyable competitive game as I've seen our kids play all season long. I mean, most of the games, Chris, you call them, we're most of the time in pretty much control. And so the game's all about we're controlling what's going on. We didn't have a lot of control over that one, but what we were controlling was how competitive we were with them and how much of a war it was, and that was fun to watch our kids compete like
I agree, and I think the only place where we would get if you were grading us an A or B or C might have been on the boards, and it's because Tennessee's one of the best rebounding teams in the country.
Well, and going into it, we had said if we get out rebounded in the 10 to 15 range, that we thought that would be acceptable. Now, if we get out rebounded in the 25 to 30 range, that it's not going to be acceptable. And if you look at them, it could have been 55 to 25 on the boards. I mean, it could have been, but it ended up being 13, which was right in that acceptable range. And at halftime, we were getting killed on the boards, but it wasn't just. I mean, it was manageable. I mean, it really was manageable. And I guess none of us really thought. I mean, you're Tennessee, it shouldn't be manageable. So I think that's that looking back and going, we were a little better than we thought we were. But that was our biggest challenge was the glass.
Okay, we'll take a break. We'll talk about the second half and the end of the game when we come back. Coach Kevin McMillan here at Snappy Tomato Pizza. Skyhawk Talk continues on the UT Martin Skyhawk Sports Network.
JD